Hey guys, it's me, Claudia J. Welcome back to my channel. If you look at the title of this video, you obviously know what I'm getting ready to talk about. I've debated since the shooting happened if I was even going to film a video to talk about it, and I thought about it for a really long time, and I just thought for me to process it and also my thoughts that making a video was a good idea, and just to get how I'm feeling out, because this impacted me greatly, and it just really hurt my heart. Like the day I found out, when I found out about it, I literally cried for about 3 to 4 hours, and I couldn't stop crying because it really just impacted me that much, and it was just so hurtful that something like this happened. But at the same time, as hurtful as it was, to say that it surprised me or that all the things that have been happening led up to this point didn't necessarily shock me, and that was probably the most hurtful part. First off, what I want to say just in general is that to all the LGBT TQIA community, like I am mourning with you. I get it. I'm just so heartbroken. And one of the reasons I even made a channel was to talk about things like this. Besides beauty and hair, these are things that I actually really genuinely talk about. And if you follow me on any of my other social media, if we're Facebook friends or Twitter friends, these are always things I'm extremely vocal about because I care about them so much. So I don't think my YouTube channel is going to be any different. And if that's not what you're looking for, then I guess you can just click the X button, because I want to talk about these kinds of things. Beauty and hair and all other life stuff is funny, and jokes aside, and it's fun. But I do really want to talk about serious things also here on my channel. So it's been really hard for me to just overall collect my thoughts about what I was trying to say, and I definitely felt that I needed to calm down and just gather my thoughts so I wouldn't be on here ranting for probably like 3 days on camera. So the biggest thing I guess that bothers me about obviously over 100 people getting injured and over 50 dying is the fact that it was a homophobic attack, and the attack was stemmed in homophobia. Yes, we can address other issues involving guns, but at the end of the day, this was a homophobic attack, and it was based in homophobia, and it was surrounded by hate. And this person chose to use a gun to express this hate he had towards a certain group of people that have done nothing to him. And I guess this is what made me so angry about the shooting, was because I've always been extremely vocal about the rights of the LGBT community, and it bothers me to feel like it took 50 people dying for people to realize the humanity in the LGBTQ community, and that's what bothers me. Because what I ranted about on my Facebook was, because I was just so upset, is that a lot of the time it took this shooting for people to care, for people to see that this community, they're human beings, that they're people. Because every other day when I get on social media, even people I'm friends with Facebook with, I will see them make little slip comments, and I usually correct them or I say something about it because it's just unnecessary. And for the shooting to happen, and then for people for me it's fake care, or maybe just a really big reality check that this stuff happens. Like, this is stuff that happens in the community every day. Like, people are bashed because of their sexual orientation, or the community, they are killed because of this. If anyone was keeping up before this happened, there has been an extreme number of transgender murders and deaths, especially transgender women of color. And a lot of people probably wouldn't even know that because they didn't care to know, or they just weren't paying attention. And it's just things like that, it bothers me, because even when it came to things around gay marriage, which I was really strongly about, not because at the end of the day, whoever gets married really it doesn't really affect me, but I do believe everyone has the right to be married if they choose to be married, and who they choose to be married to. And it shouldn't be restricted based on if that person is a man or a woman and they are the opposite sex of that, because to me that's not what matters. And then when people choose to be with someone they love and care about, to me, unless the person is just generally a bad person or bad sense of character, or this person is not a good match for that person, there is no reason besides who they are as a person that would make me judge them for whether they should be together. And I'm not really here to debate how I feel or debate how you feel. That's just what it is. And if you don't agree, then to be honest, I don't really care. I just don't, because you shouldn't be barring people from being with each other strictly based on who that person is and what their sexual orientation or gender is. I just don't believe in that. They're not hurting anyone. So the reason this was so upsetting to me and just inflamed my heart so much, it was just because it took people dying to realize people's humanity. And I understand when people are posting, this isn't nothing about being gay or straight or whatever. These were 50 people that died. Yes, and I completely agree with you. These are 50 innocent people that went to a place of refuge to have fun and enjoy themselves, and they got killed for it. What I do have the issue is people trying to either make it an Islamic phobic like issue, because all Muslims, you cannot group a whole religion together. And for someone to be Muslim and happen to be Shia or not to be Muslim, that's just a characteristic. It has nothing to do with the religion as a whole. And I am not a religious person. I don't prescribe to any one religion. So I'm not here to say which religion is better or which is worse. But at the end of the day, how I feel is if your religion is teaching you to hate any group of people for any sort of reason that is not harming anyone, then no, I don't agree with you. And you can take that however you want to take it. If your religion teaches you to alienate a group of people for no other reason but just because of who they love, no, I don't agree with you. And I do not agree with that part of your religion, and that's just how it's going to be. Yeah, I don't believe in that. I feel like everyone has a right to have whatever type of spirituality you believe in, and if that gets you through the day and you go to bed at night knowing you have some special type of connection with whatever religion you decide to express, I am happy for you, and that is great, because I feel like everyone should have some type of spiritual connection to something, and I think that's a good thing. But when you take good things like that of just having a personal connection with whatever God or whoever you believe in and try to push it on other people and use it as a reason to hate them, I will never stand behind that. And I guess that's why it took me so long to make this video, because I debated so long on whether it was something I should talk about. But at the end of the day, as the person I am, I don't back down from things that I strongly believe in, especially stuff like this. So just to be authentic and honest with myself, it would only be right that I made a video about this to voice how I felt. As far as really religious people that use that as a reason to dehumanize other people or to make it seem like an exception, I hate hearing when it's like, oh, well, I don't agree with their lifestyle, but ... And to be completely honest, I don't think it's really something you have to agree with, because it's not your life and it's not your business. And again, this is coming down to strictly love. I'm not talking about any other types of acts of whatever the person may be, but when it comes to who that person loves and cares about, if that's the only reason you can find to separate yourself or make yourself feel like you're above them, then I can't stand behind that. Like, there's just no justifying that for me. Sorry guys, like I just have so much to say. Like, it's taking me about 4 days just to process everything that I'm trying to say and that I'm feeling. And if this video might come out really jumbled, I'm not really gonna edit a lot, because these are just my raw and honest feelings. So for the news and other people to make this issue about gun control and about Muslims and about ISIS and terrorist attacks, to me just takes away from the whole thing. But there's also layers to this. This was a terrorist attack against the gay community, and this does somewhat bring up an issue with guns. But personally, there's a bigger issue, and the whole bigger issue came down to homophobia and how people felt about the LGBT community. And to take that away in the media and try to make it seem like it's not that, or focus on so many other things, to me is disrespectful, because so many people spend their whole life getting defined with whether they are gay, straight, transgender, not even straight, I mean gay, lesbian, transgender, queer, whatever have you, that's not straight, because they feel like that's not the norm, and then they get judged for that their whole lives. And you dehumanize these people for that, and you make them feel like they're less of a human being, or they're not normal, or they're not really just not people. They're like a subspecies of some sort, which is why there even is a thing called the LGBT community. And then to take that away all of a sudden because they died and say, well, these are people, that's what the LGBT community has been trying to express and tell people. Like, there's, just because of who they love, it doesn't make them any less human. The whole point was to make sure that you guys knew that they were human. But it took 50 plus people dying and 100 plus people just overall getting injured at a gay club for people to realize and click that, hey, they are people. And I'm not really buying it when people are just like, it's humanity, they're all humans, whatever. Yeah, but have you? But a lot of people that are saying that now are the same people that didn't care about these people's humanity while they were alive. And that's what pisses me off, because it's like you didn't care about their rights, you didn't care about what they could and could not do, you didn't care about the discrimination, you didn't care about the violence, you didn't care about any of that while they were alive, when it mattered, their livelihood. But now you want to see them as human once they died. So they're only humans now because they're no longer breathing on this planet. I don't understand the logic behind that, and it makes me angry. Like, it shouldn't have been that way. For you to notice that the whole time these people were just asking to be treated like human beings, to not be discriminated against, to not I'm getting emotional. To not be treated like crap or just get judged because of who their love is not what everyone expects it to be. And I was getting upset because I've also seen a lot of people on my Facebook that they're entitled to their opinions, but their opinions to me are just wrong. Like, because the things that they would say are based in ignorance. And it's like, if you're making a comment or an opinion that is somewhat based in some form of actual information and you still choose to have that, then you know what, then have it. But it's when people's information and their knowledge is based in such ignorance, where they know nothing about what they're talking about and still strongly hold to this belief and don't want to learn outside of what they believe. I have an issue with that, and I've always had an issue with that. I'm not saying I know everything. There's a lot that I don't know, but when I don't know something, I either ask questions or I research it on my own. And if my stance is still the same, then it is what it is, as long as I went and found the information about it. But if I have no information on anything and have such a loosely based belief just because that's what you grew up with and you don't question your own beliefs, then I don't know how you can ever grow from that. Overall, I think it's just disrespectful to the LGBTQ community in general and everyone else that's involved in the community to try to take away the fact that this was based in hate and it was based in homophobia, because that is such a big problem. It was such a huge part of this shooting. Like, yes, there was a shooting, and yes, we've had many shootings, but that is a topic for another day. Yes, there's issues on gun control and all that, and I'm not really here to talk about any of that, except the fact that I am mourning here with the families and the friends and everyone else that just a human being with any type of compassion and emotions about what happened. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me why someone being gay or anything, lesbian, queer, non-binary, any of those things, for you to hate them if you do not know them as a person. For me, a judgment of character is just based off who you are. I can hate you for some reason, or just dislike you or not vibe with you for the same reasons I could not like someone else. And gender or your sexuality will literally never be a factor in that. I'm judging you off of the type of person you are. If you're straight and you're a bad person, then I won't mess with you. If you're gay and you're a bad person, I won't mess with you. But it won't be because of your sexuality or how you decide to present yourself into society. If you're transgender, I don't care. Like, if you're a good person, you're a good person. All of that literally does not matter to me, and I don't think it should matter so much to other people. Now, if you just genuinely do not like someone, that's just life. Like, not everyone's going to like you, not everyone's going to care for you, and that's just how things are. Like, I don't expect everyone to like me, or if everyone likes me, like, I'm pretty sure there's someone in this world that doesn't like me, and you know what, I'm just have to live with that. That's okay. But I'd rather them not like me because of whatever reason that is. If it has something to do with my character or who I am, being true to myself, if that's why you don't like me, then I can't be mad at that. But for you if you were to hate me because of my skin color or my sexuality or anything else, I would have a problem with that, because you don't know me as a person. Those are all things that make up my identity, but that is not who I am overall as a person. I've seen some horrible things tweeted about how if they weren't at the club, they wouldn't have got shot, or they weren't here, if they weren't gay, they wouldn't have got shot, and all of that just pisses me off. Especially, I just watched the interview with Anderson Cooper, with the attorney, was it state attorney or whatever, attorney general of Florida, and he called her out on her BS because she was just saying that she was with the LGBT community and all the prayers, and it just, he was saying like how she's spoken out against the LGBT community so many times prior to the shooting. Like, why care now? Like, don't try to sugarcoat how you felt, or if you were speaking out against them the whole time, and then now that people die, act like you've cared about their livelihood, because you voted everything against their livelihood. And I completely agreed with him, and that's how I felt about a lot of people that I knew personally and not personally. Because a lot of people that I've seen on my social media, mostly my Facebook, since it's more so people that I've either known or, you know, somewhat associated with, there's a reason why a lot of these people are not my close friends, or they're just people that I do see on Facebook, because they've held these homophobic views, have said very homophobic things, and a lot of them I just deleted without question, because I just don't want to be around someone that thinks like that. The other people that I have seen, I've definitely made it known that if you have made a comment that I've seen it, and I will usually say something. More recently, I had also went on a rant the other day on my Facebook about how people will say that the media is shoving homosexuality down people's throats, which is another thing that just angers the hell out of me, because at the end of the day, the media is not shoving homosexuality down anybody's throats, first of all. If anything, the media shoves heterosexuality, which is not technically and all realistic. The fact that they are showing more homosexuality on the TV and the media, or people are actually speaking out about being gay, it's just the truth. It's reality. Like a reality, and when you walk outside into the real world, when you guys stop looking at screens all day, not everyone is straight. Not everyone feels aligned with their gender, or feel like they have a gender. Like, that's just real life. Like, that's the truth. That just because it's on TV doesn't make it any less realistic. And to say that showing homosexuality is shoving it down people's throats is just not accurate. It's just it's called representation, and representation of what the world is really like. And we don't like the real world for representation, or thinking that if your child sees it, all of a sudden makes them gay. Again, you're extremely ignorant, and I feel like you need to surround yourself with people that can educate you, and you need to go out into the world and actually speak to people. Seeing someone be gay or love who they love is not going to automatically make your child be homosexual, unless your child was probably gay to begin with. Maybe your child saw that because they saw someone like them and realized, hey, that's how I feel. Clearly, that's what I connect with. Them seeing it is not going to make them gay. Like, I need people to stop saying that. Like, nothing's going to make you gay. Some people's sexuality is just more fluid than others. If you're straight and you know what you like, great. If you're gay and you know what you like, great. Some people like to fluidly flow through all of it. And it really is none of your business, because you're not the one doing it. So that's how I feel. Yes, 50 plus beautiful human beings lost their lives, but do not try to drop the fact that they were gay or lesbian or transgender or any of that, because that was part of their identity that you guys or society has pushed on them and forced them to live a different type of life because of that label. Don't try to take it away from them now that they're dead and try to justify their humanity when you weren't looking at their humanity and the stuff that they had to go through before they were dead. People didn't support gay marriage. They were saying they were ruining the sanctity of marriage, as if straight people really respect the sanctity of marriage with the divorce rates and everything that's going on. Like, if anything, people in general are disrespecting marriage, if it really means anything to you. Again, that's neither here or there. I don't really care about opinions on marriage. Everyone has the right to get married if you choose to, or if you don't want to, you don't have to. But to say that they were the ones tarnishing it is just bullshit to me, because that's not the case. And people didn't think about that stuff when they could be with a partner for damn near their whole lives. It wouldn't matter because they couldn't get married. And in the word of the law, there's so much that you can't do when they can't visit them in hospitals. Can you imagine how many people right now cannot get into the hospital because before they couldn't get in? Even if they were together 30, 40 plus years, hypothetically speaking, they're in the hospital, they cannot get in. Now that gay marriage is legal, if they're married, they can go see their partner. And that's a good thing. But it's just, before, if gay marriage was not legal, they would not be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to get any type of information. But people don't think about all that stuff that happens because it's not happening to you. And if you cannot sit here and think about what's happening to other people strictly just because it's not happening to you, I find you to be rather shallow. Because sometimes you need to be able to look outside of yourself. Just because it's not you experiencing it, there is nothing wrong with talking to people or even just learning about what it's like to be on the other side. There's so many privileges that come with all kinds of statuses, and more so often people don't look at what it's like to be on the other side. There is a privilege in being heterosexual. There is a privilege if you're white. There is a privilege if you're a man. There is a privilege if you're able-bodied. There's a privilege if you're in a higher class than someone else and you make more money. Those all come. There's give and takes to these privileges, and a lot of people have these privileges and some don't. And it's just like, you can only imagine what it's like to be, especially a person of color who's part of the LGBT community and always feeling the need to have to choose about what is important to you, and that shouldn't be the case. Even down to how the people are donating blood for the victims, which is beautiful that everyone's coming through. But then we also ignore the fact that gay and bisexual men can't even donate blood because they're barred from donating blood. And I understand that statistically that there's a health risk for HIV, but at the end of the day, anyone that donates, HIV is not a homosexual disease. Anyone can get HIV. Plenty of straight heterosexual people have HIV, and obviously if you're donating blood, that should be something that's getting screened for regardless, across the board anyway, regardless of who is getting tested or who is donating blood. That's just obviously the requirement. But to just simply say, hey, you're basically assuming and telling gay men and bisexual men, I'm assuming you have HIV because of how you live your life, so you just can't donate blood. You don't know them. You don't know what they're doing. And to say just specifically to them that you cannot, I find that wrong, because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of gay and bisexual men that would like to donate blood, who are perfectly healthy, who get screened, who are fine, and you won't let them help. It's just, all of it is just annoying to me. And the whole gun violence debate, I'm kind of just over it. I do think there needs to be some type of regulation on what kinds of guns regular civilians can get their hands on. I'm not really here to debate that either. Like, there should be no reason someone that's a regular human, like a normal working person, not in any type of military thing, should have like machine guns. Personally, if it was my perfect world, just anybody, regardless, no one would have a gun. But that's just me. I'm not expecting anyone to agree with me. That would just be my view. Do I think politically we need to take all guns away? No, not per se. I mean, people are stuck to this right of them having to have guns to protect themselves, but a lot of the time they're protecting themselves for other people that have guns. If no one just had a gun, their issue of having the gun to me wouldn't be an issue. But since guns are around anyway, at this point I feel like barring guns altogether would cause a bigger issue, because then people would still try to find a way to get a gun. So realistically, do I think barring guns altogether would be effective at this point in time, where I feel like America has literally built their history off having a gun? Probably not, because then I think that's just going to create a market for people to sneak guns anyway. But do I think there needs to be some type of regulation, or how other people are illegally getting guns and who's getting guns and criminals getting guns and everything else? Most definitely. There is people that are perfectly registered gun owners who are not going around shooting people. So even though personally I would just like if guns didn't exist, I don't necessarily think taking them all together right now would be the best decision. The hands who they get in, though, is important, and I think that needs to be addressed. But like I said, this situation for me really isn't about guns. It's about the gay community and how they were just heinously killed for trying to be their selves. And I think that's what people need to realize, is that they're trying to live their life as authentic as possible, and they got killed for it. And you have to understand that a lot of these people, who knows what their families were like, if their families even knew they were gay, or if they even frequented places like this, or if even their families accepted that. Like, we don't know all the story, so it's like you don't know everyone's story about why they were there. And then someone said if they weren't in the club, about not being in the club, they wouldn't have got shot. And I completely disagree. And the media were like, the Florida Attorney General was saying they were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I don't like when things like this happen and they say things like that, because to me they weren't in the wrong place at all. They were exactly where they needed to be. The shooter was at the wrong place. He shouldn't have been there. People were there to enjoy themselves and have a good time. The shooter shouldn't have been there. Those people enjoying themselves in the club, having a good time, being who they are, were not in the wrong place. They're exactly where they were supposed to be, and the shooter was in the wrong place. Do not blame the victims for trying to live their life. I don't like when people say wrong place, wrong time. The shooter should have been there, and he knew his intentions, and that he's the one that was at the wrong place. I think I'm going to end the video on that note. Like I said again, pray for Orlando. I am mourning with all the people about the victims and their families and their friends and just everyone across the globe really that have seen this and just was strongly impacted by that. But this is kind of just where my thoughts are. I'm not really going to debate with anyone really. So if I see any negativity or comments or debating on this video, honestly, I'm probably just going to delete it or block you, because this is kind of my way of just dealing with it. If you agree with me, that's great too, but I really had something to say, and I needed to get that out. So, you know, if you guys want to leave words of encouragement below, anyone, if you're anywhere part of the LGBT community, or honestly just hurting, and you want to leave a comment below, you are more than welcome to comment. All my social medias are available. If you want to inbox me or tweet me, message me on any of those, I will be more than willing to respond. So, just really hurt that this even had to happen. So, I guess this is where I'll just end the video.